I need a fake keyboard image of it. You get it? Guitar, so that's that guitar in there.
This drum, we play drums a little, almost like the little brush.
Right. That's what it's like. Yeah, my son used to do that. Spend all the money buying these drums, and then he quit playing. All right. Hello. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to our first 2022 Facebook Live of what's happening now with Cni Solutions. I am Charles Fry, your host.
And I'm Brewster Fomby.
Please remember to comment, like, and share this Facebook Live post as we had the session with Mr. Tim Rice, CEO of TNR Webs. He made it sure that we understood what those likes and comments mean to a small business entrepreneur who's out there, who's utilizing the social media. So if you find some content that you like out there on social media from somebody, make sure you comment, like, and share that post. If we've been getting a lot of interest in for those who want to be sponsors and donors to Cni Solutions, our producer, she will go ahead and put that information in the chat for all those who want to be a sponsor to Cni Solutions, or you just simply want to be a donor. That information is in the chat, so you can have all of that. So please make sure you do that. Also, those who've been asking about volunteering for Cni Solutions, we're getting a lot of volunteers, Bruce. Those who want to volunteer, please send us an email to our website and put as much information in there as you can. Your time slots available, the days that you can volunteer on. And so whenever we do our community events, we will be able to call on you for your support. So tonight's guest, we have Mr. Brewster. We have the president of the Huntsville Metro Black Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Jerry Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell, welcome. Thank you for coming aboard. Talk to us, sir.
Glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to sharing information and answering any questions that may be out there.
There you go.
Great. So one of the things that I've realized that I've noticed as we've been doing these Facebook Lives, a lot of people are unfamiliar about the Huntsville Metro Black Chamber of Commerce. You know, can you tell our viewers of how long we have been in existence, or you have been in existence here in the Huntsville area?
Okay, I like how you started, because you said we, because that means that Cni as a member. So, actually, our chamber goes back to 1993.
Wow.
And when we initially started, we called ourselves the Huntsville Black Chamber. And then, so it wouldn't be any confusion with the local chamber that was here in town, we switched over to North and called it North Alabama African American Chamber. And we were one of the first 13, almost like the 13 original colonies. We were one of the first 13 affiliates of the National Black Chamber, which was based in Washington, D.C. And it also was founded in 1993. And so we founded, and you know, we spent the first few years trying to figure out what all we wanted to do, what we kind of could and could not do, because a lot of times when you start out as a nonprofit, you don't have any money.
Right.
So other than we had a few membership dues and anything like that. So in 1998, our initial focus was, because some of the people that started it, they were more interested in government contracting. So we kind of focused on a little bit on government contracting, those kind of things. But when we started looking at the breadth of Black businesses in the area, we noticed that most of them were not government contractors. So we switched our focus to be more all-encompassing. So we started offering one-on-one coaching. We started having a monthly meeting where we bring in speakers to discuss different topics, everything from, you know, tax preparation for business owners to marketing and different things like that. We started doing more advocacy. So we would ask, our city and county and businesses, you know, are you doing business with Black firms? If not, why not? And can we help you find some of those Black firms here and doing? And then also, more importantly, letting people know that there was a place for them to go and talk to people who look like them and probably share some of their same experiences in business, which is actually very important because our experiences, as our research shows, that they tend to be different when we do things like even something basically as applying for a business loan and different things of that nature. Our experiences tend to be a little different. And so, and another big thing we thought about, and particularly in starting the monthly meetings, is that we wanted to give our guys a chance to come out and meet each other, because we saw that the more time we visited with each other and got a little comfort. So now we know Charles, we saw him at one meeting, I'll say, so then like 2 or 3 minutes later, we probably learned, okay, what Charles do, because before that, people come, they see Charles one time and they said, well, I met this guy, I think the company was called Cni something. Do you know what they do? What do they do exactly? So we would tell them. And so then when they see you a few times, they get a little more comfortable and they may think of you, you know, you're on their mind. Okay, we got this going on. That's something that Cni does. So that's how it kind of all started. And so we continued to do that, got up over 200 members. And then we noticed that we would get calls from folks around the state asking for help. I was like, why are these people calling? So, you know, so now with you know, the advent of cell phones, when somebody calls you and you see a 251 number, you just assume that because they're calling you in Huntsville, that it's probably somebody in Huntsville. So you talk to them on the phone and then they need some help. And you say, okay, yeah, we can probably help you with that. Okay, so do you want to come into the office? And they go like, well, no, I'm actually in Mobile. so we just said, okay, we need to figure out how to do something with that. So our national office actually suggested around 2006 that we form the state organization. And so they kind of asked me to do it. And I basically said no in a nice professional way. and so basically, well, why won't you do it? I said, well, you know, I got my hands full just in the Huntsville Metro. Now you're talking about going around the state and trying to help people around the state. So normally when somebody would call, like if you call me from Mobile or Birmingham, wherever, I'm going to point you out to the resources that are in your area. So I may point you out to the Small Business Administration. I may point you out to the Small Business Development Center or Women's Center or something like that. But what we would hear constantly from our potential clients that, okay, we've been to all of those places.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Okay.
And nothing against any of them, but we've been there. We need something else. We need more. We need this or that. So can you help us? So after about 3 years of getting my car with one of my guys and driving all over the state, I was like, man, this is kind of dumb. This does not make sense. So we sat and took about 4 months. It created a manual, operation manuals for Black chambers. And it's geared toward Black chambers because it's focused on stuff that we have to deal with when we set up. And so then in our visits to other cities, folks would ask, well, hey, thank you for coming down and helping us. How can we have one of these things in our area? So that was kind of a springboard for us creating the Alabama State Black Chamber. So we created the Alabama State Black Chamber. And in our first affiliate, I think was, the Huntsville Chamber was, of course, our first affiliate.
Right.
And then our second affiliate, I think, I want to either say was either Tuscaloosa or Birmingham. But anyway, today we have 8 affiliates. So we do the I-65 corridor. So we go Huntsville, Birmingham, Montgomery, and Mobile. And then we go east and west. So when we go west, we go to Tuscaloosa. And then northeast, we go up to Gadsden, have a location there. And then some of our newest ones are, we have one in East Alabama now, which covers it covers actually 5 counties. But the big cities in those counties are Auburn, Opelika, and Phoenix City, Alabama. But it covers 5 counties, including Macon County, which houses Tuskegee. You're making me hard. I don't have my little cheat sheet here. And then we also have one, the Wiregrass Black Chambers, which is one of our newest ones. And it covers actually 8 counties. Most of those are rural counties. So it's like Henry County, Geneva County, Coffee County, you name it. But the big cities there are Troy and Dothan.
So you named off a lot of counties. Are you over all of those, or you just do the Huntsville? So you are over all of them.
Sadly,
so
true.
So you are you heard that, folks. So he is the man to go to if you are in any of those counties. This is the guy right here who you need to talk to if you're trying to become a member of the Black Chamber here in Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah, so you start off with me, and then I'm going to refer you, get the information. I'm going to put you in contact with one of our guys in the other area that are on the ground, because I had a gentleman I talked to yesterday, and he has a staffing firm, and he seems to be doing great things. And so I actually thought he was in Huntsville. He said, well, no, I'm actually in Phoenix City, Alabama. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to connect you with our Alabama Black Chamber. Even though they're brand new. And so that's kind of how we do it. And then we have a number of corporate partners that work with us in what we're trying to do. And our focus, while we'll help anybody, our mission focus is to work with Black businesses, either current existing businesses or those who want to start, and in order to change some of the economic dynamics in the communities that they serve. And so, so we have corporate partners around the state. So we have Toyota in this end. We also have Alabama A&M as one of our corporate partners. Then we move on down to Birmingham. We have Alabama Power and the Birmingham Waterworks Board. And then over in the Tuscaloosa area, we have UA and the Small Business Development Center. Over there. And then moving on down to Mobile, we have the Mobile Area Water and Sewer Systems. And then one of our newest partners is Comcast. And Comcast operates in 4 markets in Alabama. So they're new. And then we have some banking partners, Cadence Bank, which is statewide. And then Valley Bank, which is more from Birmingham, going south to Montgomery, then over east to the Auburn, Palaca area.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we meet with them, and they give us input on some of the things they're saying. We give them input on some of the things we see, and talk about how they can help Black businesses in the communities and those kind of things. So it's a good trade of information, I would say.
Right. So I have a question, right? So you kind of described the Black Chamber's mission, what its objectives are. So are you able to meet those objectives effectively?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So the no part stems primarily from not having all the financial resources that we had. Because when we had all the financial resources that we needed, then we could have more boots on the ground, if you will. We could deploy more training opportunities and that kind of thing like now. But we do, well, I say yes, because some of the things when we look at how can we meet some of the things that we're seeing, like one thing we saw is that a lot of times our guys don't have the tools and information of things that are going on. So we saw one classic example was that when the PPP dollars were given out. And a lot of our guys did not get the PPP dollars. And in many cases, it was largely because they didn't have financial systems, accounting systems in place. So one of the things that we did to try to address some of that is we got some funding, and we created this thing called the Alabama State Black Chamber Network QuickBooks tour.
Okay.
And so last year we targeted 10 locations to go to. So our target was 6 urban, what we call urban areas, and 4 rural areas, if you will. So we were not able to meet the goal largely because we did 6 out of 10, but we lost like 2 months due to some of our instructors coming down with COVID. And we didn't go, but we went. We went to Huntsville, and places like Huntsville, Birmingham, which is easy. But we also went to Bowling, Alabama, which you guys probably don't know where Bowling, Alabama,
no, I'm not familiar
Alabama
with that.
is, but it's off Interstate 59.
59.
Going toward
north or south?
Mississippi. Yeah, Bowling Green, Alabama, which is kind of an interesting place.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Mr. Mitchell.
Please call me Jerry.
Jerry? All right, Jerry.
Hey, can I call you Jerry too?
No, not you.
Okay.
Not you, just me. For a new business, rather it be a minority business who's looking to become a member of the Huntsville Metro Black Chamber,
Sure.
or for that matter, anywhere in the state of Alabama, they want to become a member of the Black Chamber. What can they expect in becoming a member?
Okay, well, the first thing is if they join, they decide to join. Let's say they join, and so one of the things we're going to do is we're going to tell them all the things that we can do. Of course, we can come in and they can come into the office, do one-on-one counseling. It doesn't cost them any money. They can come 100 times. They can come like every day of the year almost, and it's not going to cost them a dime. So we will help them with a business plan. We have this thing called a business plan builder that we use that you can insert the information. We can extract it and actually help you build a business plan complete with cash flow projections and that kind of thing. Also, if you come in and say, well, I'm not sure kind of who my customer is, we can collect some information from you and help you shape that. And that will be actually part of your business plan. Also, if you say, hey, I'm looking for some opportunities, who might be interested in what we have? Of course, we're going to tie that back to your business plan, seeing who your target customer is. And we're going to try to point you to some entities that we know are looking for folks that might fit your profile. We can target either that. And then one of the big things, if you say, well, hey, I need some funding. I don't have some funding. We're going to build a profile of your business. And then we're going to take that profile, and you don't have to go anywhere. Because once we get the profile, we're going to shop it with our banking part, financial part. So we have our banking partners. We have some credit union partners. We have some community development financial institutions, which are entities that are nonprofit entities that will take a little more risk, what's considered a little more risky person, which pretty much any startup is considered high risk.
Right.
Banks don't really get excited about startups unless it's something that's like locked down, well known. Like you going in with a McDonald's or Chick-fil-A franchise, then you probably be received, because to even get one of those, you got to have so much personal equity
Capital
for it. So we can help you, and so we've facilitated people getting small loans. Now we don't loan out any money. Sometimes people think we do, but we can help position you where you can get it. So we've done small amounts, as small as like $5,000 to $10,000. Our state office is a Kiva trustee, so the Kiva program you can get up to $15,000, no interest loan.
Okay.
In there. But other than that, going through the institutions that we go through, we've gotten businesses as small amounts as $25,000, and the largest amount we've been able to facilitate for anybody is $1.1 million.
Oh wow, great.
And so we don't advertise a lot. One reason we don't have it, we just say we can help, but we don't run around talking about who we help get the money, because that's a private thing.
Right.
And so, but we can do that. We can do that. And so we use people that are in the state of Alabama and outside the state of Alabama to do that. And then we also do advocacy. So we talk to, we go into cities and talk to the decision makers, where it's a mayor or city council people or that kind of thing. We also go and talk to our legislators. We've met with governors. We met with the speakers of the House, of the legislature. Just talk about what's going on with our businesses. And we find out that they largely don't know. And it's primarily because it's not something that you would just sit around and think about it. But what I like about our organization is that we think about Black businesses every day. Like we wake up thinking about Black business, what can we do to help and what's going on with them? And we go to sleep worn out from thinking about it. And so we are the only organization that does that kind of thing, I would say, because I once had a meeting with a political guy, and he was telling me about, well, they had gone through some of the traditional chambers, and they didn't get a real warm and fuzzy when they would start talking about minority business issues and this thing like that. And so what I had to explain to them, I said, you have to look at the charter. That's not what they're chartered to do, to have a focus on Black or any other diverse group. That's really not part of their charter. You know, most of our larger chambers, traditional chambers, are more concerned with industrial recruitment and those kind of things, bringing large entities like an automotive manufacturer or something to the city to create jobs. So that's really not their mission. So I'll never get upset or accuse any of the traditional chambers, oh, you should be doing this, because I have to look at what they say. Now, in some of the smaller cities may have more of a small business mission or that kind of thing like that. But even with that, I would say they don't necessarily have the cultural intelligence to kind of know what some of the needs of some of our businesses are. And it's different. And we work with, we work with a lot of different business owners. We used to work with a lot of white females that were starting businesses. We used to get positioned in loans, and that was before some of the women business centers came along, and they kind of did a little more active recruitment. We work with some Hispanic firms that are outside the area. We facilitated a loan for a group out of down in Albertville, Alabama, they were purchasing and building a little strip center down there, which was kind of cool. So we work with everybody, but we actually study Black business and what they do. So we're always researching this, surveying, collecting data, kind of seeing what they are, kind of seeing what their needs are. So that's what we're about. That's our focus. And so we believe that if we can do that, then it's going to transform some of the communities. Because imagine if, the average Black firm in the state of Alabama probably makes around $50,000 on average. Not saying that we don't have some that make millions, but I'm just talking about average. And so we have a lot of guys that have businesses, and when I say guys, I mean men and women, and they also have a job.
Right. Okay.
And so they're trying to operate this business full time. And so one of the reasons that our numbers appear so low a lot of times is because our businesses traditionally don't have employees. They're pretty much mostly over, we have like in the Black community, like over a 90% sole proprietor rate.
Right.
So that's going to lower, you think, because everything's based on one person. So if we got more of our guys to be employers, then it will change some of the dynamics. The other thing that we've seen is that we believe we help, if we could get, our businesses are historically underutilized when it comes to state contracting and local contracting. So if we've got more of our guys able to get state contracts or win city contracts or county contracts, then that would have an impact as well. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing we see is that our guys are historically in slow to moderately performing businesses. So we don't see a lot of our guys in biotech and life science, things that have explosive growth. So we'll see them in service type industries that they make money, but it's kind of flatline. It may bubble up a little bit, but it's going to be larger. Like, it's not going to be something that goes like, if you doing IT and you come with some software and you start selling it, you start off like that, and all of a sudden you go straight up. And so our businesses, by and large, do not track with the state's economic plan. So the state's economic plan, which they started working on in, I want to say 2012 or 2014, was called Accelerate Alabama. So they created this strategic plan. And so in 2018 to 2019, they came out with Accelerate Alabama 2.0. So the original plan identified about 11 to 12 industry categories where the state was going to put its money, invest money. And so they whittled that down to around 8. So if you take that and you match that up, drawing information from the census data on as to where our businesses are, we tend not to be in these categories. That's going to kind of be the current generation and next generation focus of the state. So we've got to figure a way to get more of our guys in that. So and then some of us can convert, but some of it is going to take some some guys that are currently not in business to get in some of these areas like that. So that's why we enjoy also going around. We have some youth entrepreneurial programs and talking to school kids, college kids about these other opportunities that folks in our community may or may not be into. Yeah.
You mentioned a good point about 90% of Black business being sole proprietor. Here at Cni Solutions, when we do the entrepreneurial course and we teach these classes, a lot of them are those service type industry businesses that they're going into. Right. So I guess one of my questions to you, and you kind of hit on it, was what is it something that we can do, either as Cni Solutions or the Black Chamber can do to help Black businesses start to pivot and change into those industries where they're going to have employees up underneath them, so that we are just as competitive as mainstream?
Yeah, well, I think you have to actually show our guys where these things are, like show them that Accelerate Alabama 2.0 and where the state is. If the state is saying we're putting some money in biotech and life science, well, maybe you're doing something and you can pivot to get close. Like I think when I came to one of your classes, you had several guys in there that were doing things with beauty supplies and things like that. Well, that's close, particularly if you're using some natural things, because agribusiness is one of the state's focuses. So if let's say if I was doing it, I said, well, okay, now I'm going to use all natural products. Well, now you got some agricultural because you're using ag products, and that may be something where somebody can pivot and get into development of these things that you can do. A lot of people got excited about hemp for various reasons, and talked about the CBD oils. Alabama is kind of a late developer in that. A lot of states are well past. I mean, I visited my son in Michigan, and I saw some of the things that are going on in Michigan relative to with the CBD oils and products that are going to CBD communities and all that kind of thing like that. Well, we don't have a lot of that yet here. We're going to probably get there. And I'm not advocating just for weed anywhere, anything like that, but you can do other things. I mean, years ago, in 2014, I met a lady in the Birmingham area. She was manufacturing apparel out of hemp.
Oh, wow.
Which was cool. And, the running joke was, hey, can we smoke up one of your t-shirts? Kind of thing like that. But that was kind of cool. And so, she was just thinking, I mean, because we've got a lot of rural areas here that we can do things in that we're not doing anything. So the things are out there. Suppose you came up with something that might be a future drug that could be brought to market, different things like that. So here in Huntsville, we've got Hudson Alpha. They're doing stuff like that every day. But our guys are not over in that thing, which, I'm not saying anything against them, but they're just not. So when we see companies that graduate from that, they're not like firms, that are going for to do that, So it's just something to think about that, because it's out there, but we just need to make our guys more aware of what opportunities there are like that, because we do this little session called Sources of Opportunity, 6 sources of opportunity. So we identify like 6 sources where if you kind of thinking about something, you don't know exactly what you want to do, you can look at these. So opportunities come basically when you got something that people are willing, they need it for whatever reasons, and you can make it easier for them to get, and the folks are willing to pay for it. So then you got an opportunity. So one of the sources of opportunity, of course, is change. So when you have change, and most of the time we think about change, we think about technology and different things like that, but change can be as simple. Let's say I got a restaurant, I add something to my menu that now is healthy, because now the focus is on I mean, because just think about McDonald's for example. You know, when I started eating McDonald's, like, I was worried about giving him a burger and giving him a fries. Now they're talking about trans fats and all that kind of stuff like that. But they switched to healthy, supposedly healthier products. They got salads now that they get. I remember years ago, probably about 10 or 12 years ago now, Taco Bell increased their sales. I mean, the gentleman tell me that was running that North Huntsville store. They increased their sales, and they did something similar, adding something to their menu to create more opportunities. And what they did was they started selling French fries with sour cream on them and chopped up tomatoes and stuff, and people and peppers and stuff on them. People were going over buying that stuff, create opportunities. So you can make a change like that and create a way to expand. We fell in something like that years ago when I was doing government contracting. We were trying to do, we did custom software development. So we realized that, hey, while we're developing some custom software for this company, we also got to train them on how to use it. And at that time, you know, everything wasn't online. So we actually did a tech manual for them. And so we said, hey, you know what? We need to be in software training. So we got certified by Microsoft after looking at that and started training on all the Microsoft product. And Microsoft gave us software to help create things, which was really cool. And so, you know, so that's one thing I would say, you know, and I'm sure you guys are doing is incorporating in your training of teaching people how to see these opportunities, because I always tell people I can go in pretty much any town in America. It can be a little town with one traffic light, and I can find a business opportunity. I mean, I promise you. And because I've gone to places and I've looked around, and I can tell somebody, I said, why don't you look at this? You know, now they never do for the most part, but things come from different things that we learn. Years ago, I had a student that was in my class when I was an adjunct professor at Alabama A&M, and she had been in a number of beauty pageants. And she had been Miss Maroon and White. And so I would make all my students do a business plan. And she did one for a beauty pageant consulting business. So I'm laughing about this thing, right? This is around 2008. And I said, well, Ms. Jones, what are you going to teach people how to do the Miss America wave like that? And so she got mad at me. So, well, Mr. Mitchell, I want you to know that the beauty pageant business is a $5 billion industry. I'm like, well. So I had to go home and look that stuff up. I came back next day and said, Ms. Jones, I apologize to you. I can help you do anything with your business, invest in it. Because the young lady, she had made $40,000 doing this part-time. Wow. With her being the only person in it. And she was charging at that time $65 for a telephone consult. And that's how she paid her fees going to school. So if we can harness some of these, you know, that's why I like to talk to a lot of students, because they come up with stuff. They don't have any fear. And as we get older, we become more fearful about what we can cannot do. So, you know, when we're younger, it's like, hey, the sky's the limit. I can fly. I can do all that stuff. But then, you know, you get old like me. I'm like, man, my knees hurt. No, I ain't got much time left. I don't want to do that. I need a sure thing. You know, you know, in business, nothing is guaranteed. Absolutely. You know, but I just like talking to a lot of our younger people, and they have all these ideas, man. They're like unharnessed. They've been harnessed by society and whatnot like that, and culture on what they can't do.
So since you said I can call you Jerry, so Jerry, let me
Mr. Mitchell.
Mr. Mitchell, Jerry, harnessing our opportunities. That's the last thing that I wrote down, and I heard you spoke several times about the things that you have put out there, just on a whim, on a suggestions, things that you've seen. So as I sit here, how can you take that you just spoke of and create a program, possible program, to influence those who are available, that are looking for those opportunities? Or do you currently have one?
We're actually working on that. But we do have a mini thing, a primer, if you will, called the 6 Sources of Opportunity.
Right,
we talked about that.
Yes.
And kind of get your juices flowing. and then we go to anything else. But the other thing, I can't talk about it yet because we're applying for some funding. And so I don't want to talk about it yet until I find it. But if you have me back in a few months, I would tell you if we got the funding, and I'll tell you everything that's involved.
Okay.
Because one aspect of it is business intelligence.
Great, great.
And that ties in right with the source of opportunity, So, and I didn't think of this. I actually came across this like years ago through somebody else, another company out of New Jersey, and they were talking about it. And I just read it, and then I took it and researched it and expanded it. That's all I did. So, I mean, I don't think I'm any smarter than anybody else, for certain.
Yeah,
that's already been proven, But I do try real hard, and I try to share information that I get, and that's what it's really all about. Especially in our community, we need to share as much as possible and let people jump on it and roll with it. And we need to keep sharing, even if they don't receive it, which a lot of times we don't, because it's coming from somebody that looked like look like them. And so you're like, I don't know if he or she really knows all that stuff. And we go elsewhere and get part of the information.
Right.
You don't get all of the information, but if you come out in the office, we're gonna tell you everything we know.
Right.
And if one of my guys somewhere, they say, well, we don't know this, they'll say, well, I'm gonna call Jerry and see, because he'll come up with something.
Right.
he'll have some information from somewhere. So, so I've literally talked to businesses like all over the state of Alabama, which is really cool. Really cool. And a lot of fun just seeing what people are doing.
Right.
Great. Well, Jerry, definitely it was good to have you as we're running up on our time. Folks, there you have it. Mr. Jerry Mitchell, president of the Metro Huntsville Black Chamber of Commerce. If you're looking for some support and want to join, please join. The information is in the chat. On another note, keep in mind, we will be starting our Oakwood University entrepreneurial course this month, starting the 25th. And we will be starting our in-house class on the 31st of January, 1 week later. So please, if you're going to join, you need to sign up now, because those seats will fill up quick, and we don't have that many to give out on that scholarship. Any last words, Jerry?
Yeah, I want to say one thing, which I forgot now. While we love for everybody to become a member, we know that everybody's not become a member. There's over 3,000 Black businesses in the Huntsville metro area, and we only got a little over 200 members. So, but nobody joins everything. So, because there are over probably like 18,000 businesses overall in the area, and even the mighty Huntsville Chamber, they only got a little over probably around 2,500 members, something like that. But I say that to say that one thing about our organization, if you need some help, you can come to our office and we will help you free of charge, whether you're a member or not. And of course, but if you become a member, then you get some other secret sauce, good stuff as well. So I'll just say that. So there's some benefits to being a member. But we're gonna help you if you come and ask for help. We're gonna help you, and we encourage you to take advantage of the things that are going on at CNI. They're a blessing to our community. And if you just want to come out, we do have our meetings here locally on the third Tuesday of every month. So our next meeting, first meeting for the new year, will be coming up January 18th, and it will be over at the Madison County Commission District 6 auditorium, and it's free to come. So we welcome you to come. And if you need any more information about that, just send us an email and we'll get some information out to you. But I'm certainly glad to be here. Very proud of CNI and what they're doing. They were received one of our Rising Star Awards for nonprofits, and so proud of them, well deserved. And so, we're looking for even bigger and better things for them in the new year.
All right. Mr. Formby.
Me again? Okay.
Any closing remarks?
I have some closing remarks, going to probably take about 2 or 3 minutes. So some of the things, I took several notes, and one of the bigger things that I want to talk about to you out there on Facebook Live, those who are part of my team and those who are in the Huntsville area and areas that are even outside of the Huntsville area, you know, give the chamber an opportunity to work for you. I say give them an opportunity. That's the only way they're, you know, the team, the acronym team together, everyone achieves more. We need to create more teamwork within the system that we have in place, the community that we have in place. There are a lot of people that will drop their heads and say, well, I'm just not getting what I'm looking for, what I need. Let's grow the opportunities on our own. There are opportunities that are out there, and Mr. Mitchell, Jerry, he so kindly said that I could call him. Thanks, Jerry. That they're out there and that are available. Let's pull together these resources and create a lasting opportunity for those who will follow us. That's the only way that this is going to work. Growing those opportunities. But one of the other things that you talked about was the Accelerate Alabama 2.0. I think that you mentioned. I heard of that briefly about the 2.0. I am going to go back and do more research on it myself. So in our upcoming classes, that'll be something that we will introduce and that we will talk about in our entrepreneurship classes. Those are opportunities that are available that may be available to you. So this knowledge, do not let this knowledge pass you by. Pass this video on to some friends. This is great knowledge, not just for the Huntsville area. Remember, he said there are 8 other, I think, around the state of Alabama. There are 8 other chambers in outlying areas that are there, and they all can pool those resources and get you what you need. He did say he'll be back in a few months to tell us about this great opportunity that's coming up, because I'm sure that they're going to get the resources that they need because they're diligent in what they're seeking. QuickBooks. When is the next opportunity for QuickBooks?
We have not set the schedule, but it should be set by the end of the month. We'll have
by the end of the month,
and we'll have all the cities named, because right now we're sending out information to our different locations, seeing who wants it and that kind of thing like that.
Okay, I tell you what, and Mr. Fry knows that, Charles knows the majority of our, and I think you kind of alluded to it in the beginning of our talk, was a lot of our small business. When I say our small business, they're businesses that are owned and operated by people of color, right? We lack in proper accounting. We take that part of the business. We could be prospering within our business opportunity, but we take the accounting part and we put it to the side and we say, I'll get to that.
Oh, wow. Let me tell you one thing that I'll tell you a little story. I had a lady call me and she was in, she put out a call in Birmingham. She says, well, I'm making around $200,000, but I can't really account for it.
Oh, jeez.
So I don't know if I'm really making a profit or not, but I know I'm making money. I had another gentleman that had an apparel store and a tailor shop. He said the same thing. He said, all I know, man, is I can pay my bills, but I don't really know if I'm really making any money. And I got my kids through college, so that's kind of good. So, but the one good thing, if you wind up going to get into our QuickBooks sessions, is we'll buy you a 1-year subscription to QuickBooks.
You're here
at no cost to you. So that was one of the things that we put in. We didn't want folks to have any reason, get the orientation. Then here's the QuickBooks. Have at it.
Right. Yeah. So as you go out there and you get this great teaching, this great and learn all this great information from the chamber, the African American Chamber of Commerce, right? Come on by Cni Solutions and sign up for our entrepreneurship class, and we'll talk about it. Literally, we'll discuss those things as Mr. Mitchell talked about. Where is the money at? You have to be able to account for your money. You need to know what you're spending, what's going out, and we discuss those things. And those are some of the areas that we hit on hard, because we know we find that accountability of monies is where our small businesses are lacking. Right. And then when that group, I think they call themselves the IRS, when they come and knocking, hey, they have no sympathy for what you didn't do. So with that being said, I think that was all I kind of wanted to bring to the folks out there that are listening, and those who are going to be listening later on.
Oh, Mr. Fomby, I definitely appreciate that, sir. If I can call you Mr. Fomby.
No,
I'll call you Brewster. How about that? But anyway, Jerry, thank you for coming, sir. I appreciate it. Folks out there, again, as Brewster has said, and as we mentioned at the beginning of this Facebook Live, please make sure you share this. If this information is valuable to somebody who can use it, just send some shares out, comments. We do have our producer who will be producing. She is monitoring all the chats and the comments. Any questions that you may have for myself, Jerry, or Brewster, put them in the chats. They will be monitored, and we'll make sure we respond to you in the chat. That's the end of our segment for today. As we promised you last year in 2021, there are going to be some exciting things coming forth for Cni Solutions here in 2022. Yes. We are working diligently on that, and kind of like how Mr. Mitchell said, we can't say what it is right now, but once we spring it, you're going to love it. All right. Just remember, your yesterday is not your today, and your today is not your tomorrow. Y'all have a good night.